Finally, everybody, the much requested video, the Tres Leches recipe is here. I hope that you all enjoy this. It is absolutely yummy, and let's go ahead and begin. Okay, family, so to start, we're gonna go ahead and put our dry ingredients in here, but we're only gonna put a few. So we're gonna put 1 1/4 cup of flour that I've already sifted 2 times right in there. Then we're also gonna put 1/2 teaspoon of salt. We're gonna put 2 teaspoons of baking powder. Make sure your baking powder is fresh because it does make a big difference. Then I'll just go ahead and mix this really well, especially because the baking powder is in there. So you want to make sure it gets nicely distributed. And then we're gonna go ahead and set this aside. Alright everyone, so the next step is taking 6 egg yolks. You're going to want to keep the clear part of the eggs as well. And then you want to go ahead and take 3/4 of your sugar, and we're going to be using 1 cup and 1/4 cup of sugar. So I just took 3/4 of that. I'm going to dump it in there. We're going to take our mixer. We're going to go ahead and mix this until it's nice and firm and a pale yellow color. So now that that's done, I'm going to go ahead and add my milk. This is 1/2 cup of milk. I'm also going to be adding 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract, and then go ahead and mix this up. So go ahead and set this aside. It's going to be a lot more liquidy, and then we're going to move on to the next step. For this next step, I'm taking the egg whites from my 6 eggs, and I'm going to put them in a clean bowl. And for this step, I'm going to use my mixer because it is time consuming. If you're using a hand mixer, it might take you a few minutes to get to that nice pikey consistency, and you'll see what I'm talking about when we're done here. So go ahead and lock this up. Begin blending. Now you slowly want to put in the rest of the sugar, which is about 1/2 cup left, and slowly put it in there. Once you've gotten this consistency, go ahead and set it aside. We're going to begin our next step. In a pretty big bowl, I went ahead and dumped it in a bigger one with the egg yolk mixture that we had set aside, and then I'm taking my dry ingredients with the flour, and then I'm going to go ahead and slowly put some in there. About 1/2 of it, and then you want to just kind of fold it in. Fold it in, take your time. This will be time consuming, and it's okay. Just make sure you try to follow the steps thoroughly and mix things properly, because otherwise we'll have a flat bread, and what we want is we want a fluffy bread. We want something that has a lot of little holes in it when it bakes, because that's where all the nice tres leches, which is the 3 milks, will go in. And if it's not very fluffy, it won't work out. So just go ahead and continue folding this in, and then slowly adding flour to it, and then continue on. So once it has this consistency, and you don't want to use a mixer, guys. So if you notice, I'm using a spatula to mix all this in, because then you don't want to make things flat, and it'll go flat really fast with a KitchenAid mixer or a hand mixer. So you definitely want to take your time. This isn't a quick cake. This is very time consuming, but it's definitely worth it. Then I'm going to go ahead and take my egg whites, and then I'm going to pour about a cup at a time, just like that. And then I'm going to fold it in. Now this is the really important part, because if you end up over mixing or doing this, it'll just flatten the cake out completely. So you want to go ahead and just not over mix. Don't over mix. Whatever you do, don't over mix. Alright. I wanted to make this fairly before I give birth because I know he's been craving it. And then I also thought, well, our YouTube family has been wanting the recipe for a while and I haven't done it. So here I am, guys. I hope that you guys enjoy this, and if you give it a try, please share it. So continue on doing this because I don't want to make this video extremely long until you're completely done. I'll see you guys in a little bit. Alright guys, so this took a while, but as you can still see some of the egg whites in there, which is totally fine because you don't want to overly mix. But you can see the consistency right here. So what we're gonna do now, and I would usually have this step already done, but I wanted to show you guys how I oil my little pans. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you that step now. I'm using these disposables because I find that they work out really, really well. So I'm just gonna go ahead and spray it with some olive oil, and then I'm gonna add a little bit of flour, and then just flour everything out, even though you're not gonna take it out, just so that you have a nice oiled surface and it doesn't stick to it all that much when you're like eating into it or whatnot. So go ahead and just do that. All right, so there we go. All right, so basically just take your little container. You can also do this like in a big pan, which is a more traditional way. You could do that as well. I just find that this is so much neater. It's easier to distribute if you have family and friends and you don't want to eat the whole thing. This is great. So I'm gonna go ahead and fill them about 3/4. And I'm being very careful not to overly mix this. And do it just like that. This is good right there, and then I'm gonna put them in the oven, 350 degrees for about 20 to 25 minutes. It just all depends on your oven, so definitely check on them, put a Q-tip. Once a Q-tip comes out clean, that means they're good to go. Now for the mixture, you guys, I'm gonna go ahead and add 1 can of condensed milk, sweet condensed milk, and I use Nestle's La Lechera brand because it has a different kind of flavor. For those of you that have ever tried this, you know what I'm talking about. It is really, really good. Then you want to go ahead and add 1 can of condensed milk. I'm using Carnation, Nestle Carnation as well. And then you want to just mix this up to make sure that that thick condensed milk doesn't stay at the bottom. And then I'm going to go ahead and add media crema, which is table cream. That's what they call this. You can actually find this at Walmart. I'm not sure if all of the grocery stores carry this, but you can also use heavy cream. If you can't find this one, you can use heavy cream. I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of vanilla. And then I'm going to add a little bit of cinnamon just because I like the traditional flavor of the cake, because in Mexico they make it with a little bit of cinnamon, and they usually make it from like fresh cinnamon, but I don't have that, so I'm just gonna get the store-bought one and do about ½ a teaspoon. Just go ahead and mix this up. Alright everyone, so they just came out of the oven and they were in there for about 21 minutes, which was perfect for them. And like I said, it just all depends how much you fill them and your particular oven, so it's always safe to just put a knife or a toothpick in the center, and if it comes out clean, then it's good to go. I'm going to let these rest for about 3 to 5 minutes, and then I'm going to poke holes all around them using a skewer. So I'm going to be using my metal skewer to make holes all over the cakes. A lot of people like to use the forks and just basically make the little holes in the cake, but I prefer to use this one because I find that it's easier for the liquid to go through. So we're going to do the exact same thing with this one. And I just start off on the corners and kind of go sideways so that I don't make a hole on the actual disposable container. And you want to make sure that you make enough holes so that liquid goes inside the cake. And this is looking really beautiful and spongy. So here I have my mixture, and basically all you want to do is just put your mixture over the cake and just distribute it. You might make a mess, that's okay, but it's going to be good, I promise. So just go ahead and distribute this all over. You don't want to put too much. I don't like my cake very wet. I know some people do, so it's all personal preference. Go ahead and do this with all of your cakes and cover all of the holes. Okay family, so next we're going to be doing the topping, and I freezed my bowl and the mixer piece right here as well for about 15 minutes. You don't want it to be room temperature, otherwise it'll go flat really easily. And I am using a whipping cream. This one's a heavy whipping cream. I'm going to use the entire container just because I do have a few little cakes. And I'm just going to go ahead and pour all of it in there. And then I'm going to pour 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. 1, 2. And then I will add some sugar. I'll do about 1/3 of a cup. See how sweet that is. And then I'll mix it up, and then you can adjust the sugar to your liking. Alright guys, so this is perfect. It's nice and thick, and we can put it on our cakes. And it's nice and thick and not really watery. Alright everyone, so here I have my cake, and I'm just gonna grab a little bit of the topping and put it on top. Doesn't have to be perfect, but if you want to pipe it, you can do that. I probably will with a couple of them just so that they look nice, but it's all preference. And then I just start off at the rim because I want that to be nice and neat, especially since I'm going to be covering them. Okay, and then we can just move this around. I'm going to do my caramel first, which I made homemade because I don't like the store-bought. Once you actually, you know, use homemade caramel, it doesn't taste as good when you buy it from the store. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And if you want the recipe for it, I do have an caramel apple video you can go check out, and you can see the recipe there. I'm going to squeeze it through and then just apply a generous amount on top. So good. Okay. I'm going to go the other way too, just so it looks nice. Okay, perfect. Then I'm going to top it off with some pecans. But not too many because you don't want to take away from the actual cake. And then I will put some coconut. Again, I don't put too much, just a little bit. Perfect. And there we go, guys. This is our 3 leches cake. I'm going to let this sit for a little while longer, and then we can dig in. So here are the 3 leches cakes, guys. I'm going to take some to my neighbors. They are so, so good. I hope that you all enjoyed this recipe video. And I know that Lee will be really happy when he gets home from work today. So thanks so much for watching. If you found this video helpful and like it, please thumbs it up, subscribe, and I'll see you guys really soon. Take care, everyone.